These are the Purity Switch from Pantheon Keys. If you haven't heard of them, they're a mechanical keyboard vendor based out of Singapore, which got started in mid-2020. Even though they're based in Singapore, they have several different shipping options to the US, from 3-day DHL to SingPost, which based on my past order history, takes about a month but is significantly cheaper if you have the patience. While you wait, it'll give you plenty of time to scroll or swipe down and ship that like button. Getting back to the Purity, they're a long pole tactile switch with a PBT housing, a mystery blend stem, and a 65-gram long spring. I measured the spring at approximately 22mm and the stem at roughly 13.9mm. They're manufactured by Meirun and will cost 45 cents per switch. Let's take a listen to these switches stock. In previous reviews, I've made no secret of the fact that I love Meirun manufactured switches. They're a relatively new manufacturer, but they've run several switches that I've tried, like the Doom, Bigwig, and Honeycomb switches for keep front. I like Meirun switches because for the price, you're getting a switch that is ready to go right out of the bag, with switches that are hand lubed with DuPont 205, and no crap sounds or crunch, rattle, and ping. What makes the Purity switch unique is the full PBT housing, which is pretty rare in the hobby. Like I mentioned in my review of the Bigwigs, which are also manufactured by Meirun and feature a PBT bottom, the biggest challenge in making PBT anything is the shrinkage, which helps explain those banana space bars, and could also explain why PBT isn't a more popular material choice for switches. As far as the sound signature goes, there isn't a huge sample size for switches with PBT housing components, and 2 of the 4 that I know of are manufactured by Meirun. But when compared to the Moyu blacks, the switches have a similar sound signature, which is pretty mid. Take a listen. It's not too sharp like a polycarbonate switch, but it's also definitely higher pitched than cherry switches, for example, some of which can be explained by the long pole stem and the long spring leading to a snappy but higher pitched upstroke. As for the tactility, the Purity has no pre-travel, a pretty rounded tactile bump, and a little less than 1mm of post-travel. Interestingly, in actual typing, the bump feels much rounder, I guess due to the force being exerted by my fingers, and it feels like there's less post-travel than there is when you slowly actuate the switch. Despite the tactility, there wasn't a negative effect on my typing speed even after extended typing like some hypertactiles can cause. The long spring also leads to a very snappy return, which I talked about, which definitely fits with my typing style. Now getting to hypertactile, I'm not really too sure how to characterize the tactility of these switches. They're definitely more tactile than like a light to mid tactile like the KNC black jackets I recently reviewed, but they feel slightly less tactile than the Moyu blacks, for example. Personally, I really enjoy typing on these switches, and the 60-gram actuation doesn't cause fatigue. So now let's talk value. With newer manufacturers like Akko, Haimu, KTT, and Meirun entering the market, it seems like 45 cents is the new 65 cents, and that's awesome for all of us as the end consumer. It'll be interesting to see how some of the other bigger or more established companies react to all of these really high quality and unique switches being released from smaller or newer manufacturers. And I for one would like to see more switches approaching that 45 to 50 cent per switch mark. Overall, I think the Purity switch is a pretty compelling option to try if you're looking for a solid tactile with a unique sound signature, and the price and overall quality for the stock experience makes it a no-brainer. They'll be sold as an in-stock item at Pantheon Keys, with pre-orders opening up in mid-April, so keep an eye out for them. In the meantime, check out some more keyboard content here, click that subscribe button, I'm MakerMods, and I'll catch you in the next video.